I guess we got to start with the biggest news out of today, and I think there were a lot of rumors. I know.
No, I hear what you're saying.
But we got to talk about it, Robbie. We're talking Bronny James going number 55th overall to the Lakers. Yeah, we got that duo there in LeBron James and his son. So what's your take real quick? And then I'll get LeBron James guy over here.
First of all, can't wait to hear what Joshua has to say about this. But, Bronny James is a player that is going to have a chance to be an NBA player. But right now, he is not. And, you look at his season at USC, averaged 4 points a game, shot 29% from the three-point line. This is a player that didn't shoot it well in high school. He has not been efficient on floaters or pull-ups. He has not been a good jump shooter over what we have seen from this player. Now, he's 6'2". He's more of a two-guard than a one. He's certainly a guy that I think that if he's going to transition to the NBA, he's going to have to play the point. And he is not ready to do that yet. He's also going to have to make some shots, but he does defend. He has a 40-inch vertical jump. Like, there are some positive attributes. He's obviously got a great bloodline. He's LeBron's son. And look, if he was not LeBron's kid, he would not be drafted. But he is LeBron's kid. And LeBron James is one of the greatest players to ever play the game of basketball. So when you're that, the stars run the league, agents run the league, but this is one of those deals where, any parent would probably look out for their kid and say, I'm going to help him, and I think that you respect that. I wish my dad was a good NBA player. I wish he had helped me stick around. Good for him, but there is no doubt about it. He's not drafted if he is not LeBron's son.
I agree with that. There's not a lot to push back on there. Just from a basketball standpoint, the thing that you said, I think, is 100% true. He's going to have to be a guy who can handle the basketball. Like, he's got to sit with his dad in the meeting room and figure out how his dad sees the court so he can distribute the way that his dad does. I think the defense is something that can be a highlight to his game. But to your point, very developmental is going to have to come along. This is one of the weirdest things that we could ever see. This is literally the first time that we've seen a father and a son playing in the NBA at the same time. They're on the same team. Like, this was obviously something that was coordinated. LeBron wanted to see it happen. You mentioned the point, which I do agree with. I've always made the joke, I don't like nepotism until it benefits me and my family, right? Like I've got a son now, like, James, congratulations. If I got any chance, you're going to be a Nepo baby. Like, you want to help your kids as much as possible. But you ask the question, how much is helping until it's hurting? And I think from a developmental standpoint, this is a huge jump for a guy who was not ready to take that step. Lest we forget about some of the medical issues that he had. Like, there was a question about whether we would see this guy back out on the court one day. So I'm curious to see how it all plays out. Like, he's got the biggest safety net you could ever have in the world, and that's a billionaire father who is also one of the greatest that ever played the game. But, like, for his career, it's just a huge question mark about how this actually happens. There's no blueprint for it.
I will say, though, if he stayed in college, and granted, LeBron James is going to, barring an injury, be in the NBA for a few more years, I think, because he's still playing at a level where you're like, this dude's still a really good player at this point. If Bronny doesn't come out and he doesn't play well next year, well, now you're a year older. Now your potential isn't as high, because there is something to be said about when you're young. When you're 19, it looks different than when you're 20 or 21. And the more you stay in college and don't play well, the more opportunity for you to get exposed.
Right.
So I can see where they would say, all right, this is time to just bring him here. We'll put him in the G League. We'll call him up for some games. We'll make it to where this is the first father-son duo. That's a cool legacy thing for LeBron. There's no doubt about that. Regardless of how it happens, it's never happened before. Other than Griffey, I don't know of any other situation where a father has played with his son in a pro sports league. So that's cool, but it is unique. It is very unique.
What's the difference between this and Thanasis Antetokounmpo?
It's pretty similar. I think we got some similarities there. Like, Thanasis maybe early, I would just be like, all right, potential, but now he is there because of Giannis.
Thanasis was like a hooper, low-key. Like people have played the highlights of him when he was playing over in Greece. Like, the dude really
and that's what I'm saying. When he first got there, all right, he's young.
And so I think
now
there was probably a little bit more benefit of the doubt with Thanasis than in this situation. Like, we understand exactly what happened. We even saw some of the reports that came out, and I'd love to hear your perspective. Rich Paul is calling around, and he's like, if you guys draft this man, he is going to Australia.
Who else is drafting him?
Well, that's my question, too. But, why did you have to say that?
Out there is crazy. Why would he feel the need to call other teams?
I don't know. Unless the Celtics were like, we are going to do the most conniving thing ever. We hate the Lakers. We're going to draft him just to stick it to the Lakers.
I would do that.
You would.
If I was a GM, that would be my approach.
Perry over here.
That's right.
But realistic expectations for him.
I mean, I think, go to the G League this year. He's got to develop a three-point shot. I think that he will play in the NBA because of his dad and the pull that he has there. Also, with the Rich Paul thing, before I go further on this, the Lakers there's all the leverage with the Lakers because his dad is there.
Right.
Why else would a team, unless they think they can get him in free agency? But as for expectations, hopefully he can make himself in 3 or 4 years into a solid rotational player.
All right. Well, that's probably the biggest headline out of day 2 here. But